wanted to say something. So my better voice was my art. It spoke much better than I did. What better way to speak about injustices if it's not through my voice? That's what I asked Leslie this morning when she sat down for breakfast. Who are you? Well, I'm Malaquías Montoya. In 15 years, I'll be 100, I think. I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was raised in the San Joaquin Valley near Fresno.
The only thing that appears in my artwork are the maguey. That's growing right out my door.
My dad and mom separated when I was 10. My mom refused to let us quit going to school in order to help. She managed it all by herself. She was an incredible, incredible woman. My mother was a very creative person. Our house was always, even if we lived in a tent, in a boxcar or whatever, it always became a house. But I always remembered how neat the house was painted. And then I was at that time learning how to silkscreen in San Jose, and I was printing decals. So I asked her, I thought that's what those were, those designs of birds and little animals on the walls. And she said, oh no, those were, I would go up on Highway 66, used to run right by there, and I would bring home inner tubes from people having blowouts to having flat tires. And I would cut those into squares, and then I would cut pajaritos. And then with those, I would glue them to a piece of cardboard, and then I would put paint, and then I would just, so she was using like a printing block. So she had that kind of vision in her. To her, it was something that was necessary. And that just left an impression on me.
Out and tape it on?
Yeah.
I met Malaquías when I moved back to Oakland. Actually, my mom had been telling me about this space for a long time, and like a true daughter, I didn't listen. And it took a couple other people telling me to come in and check it out. I don't think I understood like quite the significance of the work that he had done. Until I had come in here a little bit more and really got to know him, and then saw his work, and then read the books and saw all his pieces. So it's nice to be able to pass that on to the kids that I'm working with now. Pretty close, yeah. Coming into this space and being able to use this space with the students that I work with, has just been kind of a good transition of the work that he's doing or that he has done, and being able to introduce them to that. So one of the things that I always think is interesting is the young people don't, like Chicano is a very like foreign term to them. Like they don't identify that way. That's not the way that family members of them ever have. And I think a big part of that is just not being introduced to it, or having to be part of their curriculum at school or anything that they see. And so if they're not fortunate enough to have someone at home who's teaching them that, then there needs to be a space that's created that is teaching that.
Que viva la raza, grita el sol, mientras la muerte escucha. Canto del campesino que siembra semillas de su corazón en el surco de la revolución. The artists, writers, dancers, activists, social workers, teachers, all came to a common moment of clarity about we have to fight, we have to struggle, we have to do something together. One of those beautiful, rare moments in history where energies come together and change occurs, real change occurs in the society.
Many people that visit us from Europe and Asia and Latin America find it very difficult to understand that in this land of plenty, in this land of democracy, in this land of justice, that we as farm workers and others are still discriminated and don't have the right to organize into unions.
When Cesar Chavez awakened us to what was happening, I realized that my mother and father had contributed to the wealth of this country. They weren't just campesinos pobres, they were contributing to the growth of this country. And that made me proud. That really me dio mucho ánimo. And I wanted to say things about that. And then I started to find out also about my culture in Mexico, Siqueiros, Rivera, and José Clemente Orozco. And I started to look them up because in high school, no one ever talked about them. And I started to feel good. It started to remove a weight off my shoulders que me tenía agachado, you know. And this one just sort of picked me up. And all of a sudden, I started to feel proud of who I was. I started to feel proud of my mother, what they had done and contributed. And that did a lot. That just sort of, all of a sudden I was no longer ashamed of anything. I could walk in and talk to a professor like if I was someone. Well, for some parents it was scary because their children were going to get in trouble. You don't talk like that to white people, you know, and this is who you are. But it was us as teachers, you might say, to teach our parents, this is what took place. And took place in Mexico. And now here as farm workers, you know, you got to demand your rights. And that made them feel good. We knew that we were doing the right thing. We weren't going to jail for robbing or whatever. We were going to jail for rights, our rights, and for the future. But it's so interesting, imperialism, it takes so long to get rid of it because we've been embedded since the time we're children. And it's very sad how it can break people. It's amazing, but it's also angering. Who are these people that they think they have the right to take away who you are? You know, to just sort of aplastarte, you know.
Malaquías, what do you think?
Okay, let me check it. Did you do this? Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Do you have a screen?
Yeah, Eddie said there are a couple in there. My mom was an educator here in Woodland for a long time, and so she still has it too. There was a patch that she had gotten at a march or a rally, and she couldn't find, there were these patches that said Chicano power, and she couldn't find one that said Chicana power, and so she cut out the O, or I don't know, took the stitches out, and then re-stitched an A on there. And it was just something that we had around the house, something that, you know, she passed down to me, and I got all of that history. I got the people that were involved in the movement, and how I can keep that going, how I can keep that alive. So I feel like that's part of what I'm supposed to be doing is passing that on to the next generation. That's kind of in a way lost that. So. The kids that I'm working with have really been sort of pushed out of a lot of spaces, education, different institutions, and they're looking for that belonging, they're looking for that identity. And so to bring them something like that, like they're fighters, right? They're fighters, but to show them something to fight for is really important. So I think that's a big piece of how like we've kind of translated or intergenerationally like been able to do that.
So when will you have this done today?
Probably today. Yeah, we should finish it today. Some folks are kind of pushing to turn into an alley of murals. And I think specifically like Chicano murals. So this might be the beginning of that, or the start to that. So that'll be the bigger ask. It definitely is something, even with all the murals that you and Marcel have put up, there's still a lack of that, especially in downtown Woodland. I mean, it's just, yeah. So hopefully this is just the first of many. Art sometimes has a way of being able to communicate something even when you can't say it. And a lot of young people, especially myself included, have a hard time putting thoughts into words. And so it's an easier way to communicate what it is that we're feeling, or what our stance is on something or anything. I think even like me being comfortable right now more comfortable talking because I'm working on something is a way that I've used to get young people to talk. So at school, we've painted murals around the school, and it's been a way to connect with them. It's been a way for them to, okay, if I'm not looking you in the eye, I feel more comfortable and I can open up more. I might be able to say this because I'm doing something else. Nobody's going to notice the emotion in what I'm saying. So yeah, it's important. It's important, and I'm definitely doing my best to try to keep it alive and keep that going.
The world changes so fast, and what's nice about this is that you're involved with it on a daily basis. So you pretty much keep up with the changes yourself. Whereas if you're sitting in your office or in your studio with a big computer in front of you, you're just clicking away. And things happen, and I don't know if you're aware of it, that it happens, I don't do the things that I do just for nothing. I think I'm real serious about the work that I do, and trying to explain to them through my art who's responsible for the conditions that we found ourselves in, and why was it that way? Why was it that they treated us that way? And I've gotten more desperate because I'm getting older. I hope that what I'm doing will continue and that others will get that flame and want to go and change the same thing.